Yes, absolutely. I was the council member who brought this item to council to disclose the clusters. The legal information that we were given from our city attorney, I believe it was an opinion, and I don't believe that it was correct. We as a city have released cluster data for other infectious diseases in the past in El Paso, and we need to do that now. People are not feeling safe, and with the numbers going up, it's becoming a little bit of a havoc. People nervous about going to the grocery stores. We need to be giving the data to make people feel safe and to make businesses who are following the rules that have not had an outbreak not suffer the consequences of those who are not. So 100%, I am the council member who has been fighting for this, and I will continue to fight for this.
And after the break, I will ask each of the candidates a question individually, and the candidates will each have a chance to question each other, which I can tell Mr. Campos would very much like to do. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break.
Keep your distance and use hand sanitizer. Don't let your guard down.
When you need the latest news, turn to the ABC7 Alert Center.
City, county, and medical leaders across the borderland expressing deep concern after we saw the largest single-day spike of COVID-19 cases to date.
With new details breaking minute by minute, the ABC7 Alert Center has real-time updates to keep you informed and your family safe.
Stay home and only leave your house for essentials, and they're urging everyone to do that.
Only on ABC7, where news comes first.
1, 2, 3, Right now, qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a 2020 RAV4. Toyota, let's go places.
Corruption, disgrace, a betrayal of the public trust. It's not a Washington story, it's Yvette Herrell's. While in office, Herrell secured over $1 million of our taxpayer dollars for her own company and an organization run by her own mother. It's why Herrell's actions have been called egregious. Now she's taking tens of thousands from corporate PACs. Corrupt Yvette Herrell would make Washington worse.
DCCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
And your weekend on a high note. I'm Iris Lopez. Join me every Sunday for moments that'll make you laugh, cry, or motivate you. Sunday Fun Day Moments proudly sponsored by Sarah Farms.
Egregious. That's what the Albuquerque Journal called Yvette Herrell's secret sweetheart deal. Herrell's company made $440,000 in government contracts, but Herrell didn't disclose it. And when she got the chance, Herrell helped direct over $500,000 to an organization run by her family. Using her position to cash in for herself? Egregious. We can't trust Yvette Herrell. House Majority PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
During the Today's the Day sales event, get $2,000 customer cash on a new 2020 Highlander Hybrid. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back to the debate for City Council Rep District 2. I'll be asking each candidate a question individually now, starting with Ms. Gutierrez. The impact of the coronavirus on the budget means a decrease in revenue. So what actions would you take regarding spending?
So I know that there's been a moratorium on the debt issuance, which is a really good first step. Our budget stabilization fund is being shorn up. That's a really great move by our city leadership and city council voting to approve that. We cannot shut down our businesses. We cannot shut down our economy. We need to figure out a way. This council needs to not be so divisive and work together to figure out a way so that the online sales are really contributing to the shoring up our funding. But we have to continue to keep our businesses open and prop them up and use CARES Act dollars a lot more than we are now. There's too much money being left on the table.
And Ms. Anello, you said on your campaign mailers that you stood against non-voter approved debt for vanity projects. So what do you consider vanity projects?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first came into office, they were going to do the Sun City Lights project downtown. Originally, the voters told that would be paid for with the Saturday meters. And then when I came to office, that was not enough money. And so it was on the table to use non-voter approved debt and certificates of obligation to pay for that project. And I fought very hard and was able to get the council to not support that. And actually, that project was then funded by the TERS downtown. So being paid for specifically by the taxpayers in that district district and not my taxpayers. And last year we saw a certificate of obligation package that had a Sun City Lights project in every district minus District 8 and District 1 because they already had them. And I didn't think that was appropriate. You know, certificates of obligation are supposed to be for failing infrastructure and for emergencies, not for tourism and archways.
Mr. Campos, we've seen a push nationally to re-examine public spending on law enforcement. Funding the El Paso Police Department accounts for much of the city budget. So are you comfortable with the level of spending, and can you please explain why or why not?
Funding for the police is necessary, especially during this time. I don't believe we need to cut it, and I don't believe we have to increase it. One of the things we got to understand, we got to find ways to cut our budgets. You know, some projects that we have out there are not necessary. Some of the things we can put on hold. This is what we got to do. We got to find out which are the ones that are very necessary and which are the ones that are not. Which ones can we postpone a little while until this virus is somehow cured or dissipates, disappears, whichever. But we cannot continue the way we're going. What about the taxpayers? What are we doing for the taxpayers, the ones who are not working? Our taxes still got to go in. We still got to go out there and pay. And if you don't have a job, if you don't have an income, what do we plan on doing for them? Are we going to continue spending the way we're spending? I don't think so. And that's one thing the city has to do. The city council has to come up with ideas on how to save these people from losing their properties and business.
Thank you for that answer. And now each of you has the chance to ask the other a question. So, Ms. Anello, you go first.
Sure. My question is for Ms. Gutierrez. So just earlier, she said that looking at non-voter approved debt and cutting the budget. I've also heard her say things like, I only focus on not District 2 issues, other district issues. I've also seen that she's supporting the downtown arena. And so my question is, you know, that's not a District 2 issue, but the District 2 residents are going to pay for that. Non-voter approved debt is what is, you know, increasing the taxes for District 2 residents. And so, you know, when you say that you're not focusing on District 2 issues, you know, how is that responsible to the taxpayers in District 2?
So I'm not focusing on the arena. It's a question that has been asked citywide. How would I vote? So I answer, how would I vote? I'm going to vote with what we're legally obligated to do. And yes, of course, that affects District 2 taxpayers. But my response, the other part of my response to that is, I worked with you 3.5 years, Ms. Anello, and I know where your focus was. The last cleanup that we had in District 2, you were out of town. You were not available. So many of the issues that I took care of, you were not available. You were out of town. First 2 years in office, you took 13 trips on the taxpayer dime. So that's my response.
And if I could rebut to that,
yes, go ahead.
Many of the statements are untrue. So, Ms. Gutierrez, many of the reasons you're not in the office, right? The last cleanup that you told me was canceled, and then the day of, an hour after it started, you said, did you go to the cleanup? And for travel, you never put the travel in correctly. I took one trip during my time that was paid for by the district office. Every other trip was paid for that the organization was asking me to come. And you being unable to fill that paperwork out correctly and you not being honest about the cleanups is, again, one of the many reasons that you're not in the office anymore.
No, ma'am. I have the open records request that shows your 13 trips and all the dollars that you spent.
Does not show that those trips were reimbursed.
I have the open records request.
Okay. All right. I think both of you have been able to answer each other's concerns, and we can, we don't want to get into, dissolve into a fighting match, but we would like to get to the next question. Mr. Campos, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, it's for Alexandra and Neil. One of the questions is, you're very protective about Duranguito. And my concerns is, the arena is important, but why do we have to put it there? Why do we have to, why can't we move it? What are we really protecting when we know that that area in downtown is totally dilapidated? It's being run down. There's nothing there. To fix it will cost a whole lot more than it is to tear it down and rebuild it.
Well, Mr. Campos, we could put that arena anywhere. And I remind you, I know you've had some conversations with constituents about how District 2 has many historic neighborhoods, and people are very protective of that. I don't think it's a great comment to say because a low-income neighborhood isn't visually pleasing, that the low-income residents should be moved out and put in public housing and their neighborhood should be downtown. All of our neighborhoods, all of our communities in this city are important, and we have an obligation to protect every community member. We're going to see that come up in District 2 in the next couple of years with TxDOT using eminent domain in our neighborhoods. And I am prepared to fight for those District 2 residents as I am for every other resident in this city. And if you are not willing to protect communities in this district, I would be very concerned about you being...
That's correct. That's an incorrect statement. You got to understand, one of the things is that we're spending millions and millions of dollars on attorneys when we can be actually helping individuals that we're trying to relocate. Why don't we do that? Why don't we get that money that we're spending to the attorneys and give them to the people? I'm sure they will be happy to be relocated at a nicer home in a better area.
And the city could have settled that with the mayor and Woody Hunt. We saw an open records request. Woody Hunt was involved with the negotiations, which is not acceptable, decided to not take that agreement. It didn't even come to the council. I would have fully supported a negotiation with both sides, but the mayor made that his own decision and did not bring it to the council.
And now we're going to have Ms. Gutierrez ask her question.
Yes, thank you. So, Ms. Anello, on your literature, you're taking credit for 6 parks in District 2, which I think is fabulous. I've called your office for 2 weeks now. I've not gotten a response from you, from your staff. I had to go through an open records request to find out where those 6 new parks are that you're bringing to District 2. And so I've got that information, but I would love for you to tell us where those 6 new parks are going to come. Aside from Chelsea Pool renovation, which you did vote against, but which are the 6 new parks that you're bringing?
So first, Ms. Gutierrez, since you've worked in the office for so long, you know that you are not allowed to call the office for campaign-related issues. You are welcome to
I am a constituent. I'm a constituent.
And ask specifically for campaign-related items. And by recommendation of the city attorney, we were told to not respond to those because you are not supposed to call the office for campaign.
And that's fine. Just tell us where the 6 parks are.
In the Chelsea Pool Park, I did not vote against. I voted against the Sun City Lights project in the financing of the COs. And as if you knew Robert's Rules of Order, you need to vote no to be able to bring that back up again and finance those properties. So 6
voted no.
We fought for the Wainwright Park, as you know, when I came into office, was being taken off of the bond. We fought to get that back. The flat fields at Lower Beaumont, I'm sorry, can I still answer the question? The flat fields at Lower Beaumont, which were removed from District 2 from the 2012 bond, those are back and we're now in negotiations. The
Ross fields are not parks. 6 new parks, Ms. Anello. Where?
Sports Complex Park. Yes, ma'am. The Ross Middle School, the Chelsea Pool, the Memorial Park expansion.
And all of those are 2012 projects, Ms. Anello. Those were all 2012 quality of life bonds. Those are not things that you brought to the table.
Yes,
but
they were.
Thank you for your answer.
Those were taken out of the district by former representatives. Money was spent in other districts, and I had to fight to get them back. And that's right. That's while you were in the office. That's
okay.
Correct.
All right. So now each of you has.
And I retired. Thank you. I retired. Thank you.
Okay. And let's each give you 30 seconds to close, and we're going to start with Mr. Campos.
Thank you. Look, I believe we need somebody new out there, somebody who's experienced with construction, somebody that knows how to deal with things that are happening out there. One of the things is that we have to get new blood in there. Actually, I wish somebody younger would be in there instead of me. But one of the things is that we got to go in there and we got to change the mentality of the people. And because of my experience in the industrial field and as an electrician and as a contractor, they need a person like me in there. Thank you.
Ms. Gutierrez, your closing statement.
Thank you. Born and raised El Pasoan, born and raised in District 2, 24 years with the city. I chose to resign and then subsequently retire. I was not removed. I was not asked to leave. I've known these people for 15 years. I know the issues. I know our struggles. 24 years experience, 6 years at 911. I'm a huge supporter of our police department. So gracias for the opportunity. And for those who have voted, thank you. For those who are still undecided, do your homework. Thank you.
And Ms. Anello.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for having me. I've been in this office for 3.5 years, and I have fought hard for the people. I have been the voice of reason on council, making sure that the council is being transparent, accountable, and honest to the people. We have made little strides, and we have a lot more to go. I would say I think it's very easy to run for office and to attack the person in office, but it is absolutely important that you have a message forward. In the 3 months that we've been running this campaign, and even here today, we have heard nothing but attacks. It is important that you vote for someone who has a pathway forward, who understands policy, who understands the law, and is making decisions for your best interest to move District 2 forward. So thank you all for your support and your time.
And thank all of you for participating. Early voting is underway and Election Day is November 3rd. You've been watching the debate between the candidates for City Council District 2, and you can watch this again at kvia.com under the Your Voice, Your Vote link on the website. Thank you again for your time.